All right, welcome back. Today's Tuesday. We're going to be heading to the weight room here in just a moment. Before we get to the weight room, I just want to remind everybody we have a 5,000 subscriber goal for the channel. At 5,000 subscribers, I will be releasing an 8-week speed program, 5 days a week out onto the track. Everything you need to do in order to get to the fastest version of yourself. That program will be 100% free once the channel hits 5,000 subscribers. So if you're here for the first time and you like what you see, make sure to subscribe, 5,000 subscribers, and I'll get that program out to everybody. Another thing I wanted to say is since about April or so, since I've been more consistent with posting onto this channel, we've had a really good rate of growth from that point. I really appreciate everybody who has been watching the videos, leaving comments, trying to help the channel grow in any way that they can. I appreciate that. I do have the channel to the point where it's monetized, meaning I can make money off of YouTube videos now. Now, let's be clear. I'm not making anywhere near a full-time income off of YouTube, and I'm nowhere close to having that goal being realized anytime possible. So that's not the point of what I wanted to say. I'm making enough money where I could buy a good coffee every single day. That's the level of YouTube that I'm at right now. I like to give away free shit. One of the reasons why I want the channel to grow is because if I can make this channel to the point where it can create an income, I would love to just give away all my training for free, give away free resources, and try to get as many people training in the way that I believe that everyone should be training, so they can feel good, look good, perform good, all the way through for the longest period in their life that they can. Since last month was the first month of actually earning any sort of money off of YouTube, like I said, I made enough to where I could buy a really good coffee every single day if I wanted to. What I'm gonna do is I'm going to be giving away 3 programs for free. The program is going to be my unit phase 1 program, which is no longer available to purchase. The reason I'm giving away unit phase 1, a lot of the weight room stuff that I'm going to do today, I went back to unit phase 1, pulled some things out of there, and I made some adjustment based on what I wanted to do for this training block going forward. And I used unit phase 1 as a general outline on how I want to use the first 12 weeks of this training program. So I'm going to give that program away for free. This program you cannot buy anymore. I got rid of unit phase 1 and unit phase 2 because I have unit 2.0, which is available for purchase right now. You can click the link down below if you'd like that. Unit 2.0 encompasses everything that those 2 programs used to do, and everything was starting to get cluttered. People were being confused on where they should go and what program they should start with. So I got rid of those programs, combined them, re-edited them, made a brand new program out of those, added a bunch of stuff into it, and got unit 2.0 out of that. But the main focus of phase 1 was to build foundational strength. Get up all of your strength numbers, so then when you progress into some sort of sprint program, whether it's a power program, trying to get your vertical jump, all that kind of stuff, that base level of strength is there, which is why I went back to phase 1, kind of pulled some things out of there that I wanted to do, and I've thrown them into the program that I'm doing right now. It's a very updated variation of it. I took some of the squat progressions, some of the bench press progressions, but a lot of the accessory stuff, a lot of the jumping, all the sprints are brand new when I'm putting this together. So it's going to be really fun to see how this kind of integrates together and creates a new system going forward. But I'm going to be giving away 3 copies of the phase 1 program. All you have to do is drop a comment down below. You can write whatever you want, but you have to use the hashtag #TrustYourDopeness as you see on the page here on YouTube. If you just leave a comment, I'm not going to choose you. If you leave a comment and the hashtag #TrustYourDopeness, you could just leave the hashtag #TrustYourDopeness down low. Any variation of that, as long as that hashtag is there, I'm just going to pick 3 random people. I'll hit you up, I'll get your email, and I'll send you out that program today. So that's what I wanted to start the video off today. One more thing too, as you guys know, I'm an avid pre-workout drinker. I get questions all the time about what pre-workout I use. I just want to start off by saying, 1, I am not sponsored by any supplement company. I have been offered sponsorships by supplement companies. I've turned them all down. mainly because I don't want to have to post ads and give out codes and do all that kind of stuff. It's really like, it's basically a commission only sales job. Like they say you're a sponsored athlete, but it's like, hey, the only way you're going to get paid is if you use this code and get people to do that. And I'm like, I'd rather just not post ads all the time. So I'm just going to let you guys know what I take for free. This is the pre-workout that I'll be using for the next month or so. It's called Rise Godzilla. I've used it a little bit before. I really like it. I always do the double scoop because for me, if you say you have an option of taking 1 scoop or 2 scoops, 2 scoops is what I'm going to go with because I am a pre-workout junkie. I like to be stemmed up. I like to get feeling like I'm ready to work out. 2 scoops is what does this for me. Rise, you guys make a good pre-workout. That's a free ad, by the way. I'm going to mix this up real quick. Got my little blender. Then we chug the pre-workout and we get to the gym. Let's go work out. All right, gym time now. So we're gonna start off today with some loaded jumps followed by unloaded jumps. We're gonna keep it very easy in terms of the intensity that we're doing. And I'm gonna be focusing on single leg jumping today. So we're gonna use a med ball, do a variation of a single leg jump onto the box. Then we're gonna follow that up by doing the same variation just without the med ball. Before we get into the first set, Seeker Strength sent me this shirt. I had to alter it. It was a long sleeve. It was a very nice shirt, but it's an XL. It was a little bit snug for my liking. So double XL, probably would have kept the sleeves on. XL, had to chop the sleeves off. Now I got myself a custom little Seeker Strength cutoff shirt, but appreciate you guys sending that out to me anyways. But for future reference, I'm more of a double XL type of guy. I like my stuff to be a little bit looser. Like pants, training tights, those can be a little bit more snug. Training tops, I like those to be a little bit looser. Double XL is kind of my go-to on those. But chopping the sleeves off of this makes it into a perfect cutoff shirt. So first thing that we're doing today, single leg loaded jumps, followed by single leg jump unloaded. We're gonna use a med ball just to kind of add a little bit of external load, try to build coordination as we do this. But how I'm gonna do this is I'm gonna take 1 step, jump up to the box, land on the opposite foot, and then because I'm moving forward, I have this box here to kind of stop my momentum from moving forward so I don't just kind of fall forward as I go. But we'll do 1 rep on each leg, drop the med ball, 1 rep on each leg, and do anywhere between 4 to 6 sets total on that. And then that's gonna be our jump movement for today's training session. And there you have it. All right, jumps are done. Felt good, nice and easy on that. Wanted to do a single leg variation just because I've done a lot of 2-footed takeoffs over the course of the last few months. Haven't really done a lot of single leg jumping variations. I'm gonna add that in a little bit for the next cycle. The next part of the training is getting into the nitty-gritty of it. So the past, I would say 16 weeks, all of my Olympic lift variations have been based off of like the power variations of those. So power clean, I did some power snatches. I ended up taking snatches out of the program for the last 8 weeks, focused more on just developing the clean since that was gonna be my main focus for my lifting test. Now I'm moving into a more traditional weightlifting style. So the cleans that I'm gonna be doing are going to be full cleans or squat cleans. No more power variations on that. Because this is the beginning of a phase, and the focus of this phase is to build up like my base level of fitness for this type of training. I'm gonna be doing some complexes with the cleans. So today is gonna be a clean pull, followed by a clean, followed by a front squat, and then we're just gonna increase the volume on all of those. So I probably won't be going heavier week to week, but I will be increasing the volume on those pretty substantially from week to week. So I don't know what my current 1 rep max is on like a full clean. I know I can power clean 182 kilos because I power cleaned 182 kilos last week during my test. So I'm just gonna use like that 180 to 190 range and base that as kind of an estimated 1 rep max. Somewhere I wanna be today is like 60 to 65% of whatever that's going to be. So I don't wanna be very heavy on this because I'm gonna be doing a complex. So the complex is gonna be clean pull, clean front squat. If you've done my unit phase 1 program from back in the day, this complex came from that. So it was 1 clean pull, followed by 2 cleans, followed by a front squat. That's what I'm gonna be doing today. The percentage on that, like I said, is gonna be very low because I haven't done full cleans. I don't know what my full clean 1 rep max is. And this being the first week of this accumulation block, I don't wanna blow myself up week 1 on this. So we're gonna keep it nice and easy. We're gonna keep it lighter. I wanna do 5 total sets on this. So with doing 1 clean pull, 2 cleans, and a front squat, you're looking at 4 repetitions for each set. If we're adding up all those reps, so that's 20 total reps that I'm going to be doing. So I don't want this to be heavy at all. So we got the knee sleeves on, which I haven't worn knee sleeves in a very long time. And we're gonna start warming up on this and try to get, my estimate is like, well, if I'm conservative, my 60%-ish number is gonna be based off 180. I don't have the math in my head, but if we look at 180, so you're looking at like 110 kilos up to 115 kilos. So nothing extremely heavy on this because the idea here is work on a little bit of technique, get some volume in, and then move on to the next movement. So we're gonna warm up, get to that 110-ish range, depending on how it feels, and then we'll knock out our 5 sets. All right, let's see how this first warm-up set's gonna feel. Clean pull, 2 cleans, and a front squat. Ooh. All right, I think what I'm gonna do is 2 sets at 110 kilos and then probably 3 sets at 115. 5 sets done. I did 3 sets at 110, 2 sets at 115. Everything felt really good on that. I kept the rest shorter because, like I said, the focus is trying to build up that capacity, trying to get volume in, build that base level of fitness. So doing that at a lighter load, I was taking about probably a 90-second break in between each of those sets. Now we're gonna move on to the interesting part of today's session. I'm going to be doing back squats for the very first time in easily at least a year. I haven't done a high bar back squat now, honestly, probably closer to 2 years since I did an actual full range of motion, high bar back squat. I've done box squat variations. I've done full range of motion on the Hatfield squat, which is different using a safety bar. I've done some safety bar squats, but I haven't done an actual high bar back squat to ass to grass in easily a year and a half to 2 years on this specific movement. So what I'm expecting to happen is my legs are going to feel fried, regardless of what load I choose to do on my sets today. No matter what, every time I go back into back squats, even if I only take off a couple months and then I go back into some back squats, my adductors get blown up, my quads get blown up. I have a very high bar, kind of a narrow stance to my squat, so I rely heavily on the adductors and the quads. So I'm expecting this to create some big levels of soreness over the next 48 to 72 hours, honestly, probably for the rest of the week, to be honest. I have no idea where my working sets are going to be. I'm doing the tried and true, old faithful 5x5 on the back squat. This is more repetitions I've done on any squats in a long time, so I don't want to blow myself up and just pay for it the rest of the week. Ideally, I would want this to be like, I don't know what my 1 rep max is, but I would want this to be somewhere around like 65, maximum 70% on something like this. But I'm just gonna go off of feel, so I'm gonna be like an RPE 6 to 7 on this, because I've got 5 total sets. So even if that first set is an RPE 6, RPE 7, by the time I get to my 5th set, that RPE is probably going to feel like an 8, maybe even higher than that. We're gonna try to stay conservative on this, not let the ego come in and try to do 5 sets of 5 at 170, 180, 190, whatever it might be. But first high bar back squat in at least a year and a half, but probably closer to 2 years. All right, I'm gonna warm up a little bit more, get after it, 5 sets of 5, let's do it. Look at the pump in the legs. This is crazy. I'm already feeling like I'm about to be sore tomorrow, but the pump in the legs is absurd. I am a very quad dominant squatter, and my quads are feeling it right now. But I said yesterday that the training sessions that I'm going into for the next few weeks are going to be a little bit unique compared to what I've been doing before. And what I mean by unique is I am going to be hitting some full body sessions. They're kind of not true full body sessions. I'm just throwing in my main upper body lifts on my lower body days. So rather than doing all legs today, all upper body tomorrow, I'm taking my main lift that I want to focus on, which would have been my upper body movement tomorrow, which is going to be the bench press today. And I'm moving that over to today to keep today a more high volume type day, keep it like a more high intensity type day compared to what tomorrow is going to be. So I'm taking that bench press out on Wednesday, putting it onto a Tuesday. The bench press is going to be the only upper body movement that I do today. I'm going to finish off with some more lower body work. Taking that bench press, moving it to today, just focusing on mainly accessory movements tomorrow and some core work. That's going to allow tomorrow to be a much lower intense day, lower volume, allow me to kind of recover from today and then hit the track again on Thursday. Bench press today is going to be high reps. So the format for this, if you followed along with my monthly training program, if you've bought any of my training programs, you'll notice this progression that I've done many times with different rep schemes, different sets, everything like that. But what I like to do is hit a top set. That top set is going to dictate what my working sets are. So I use RPE for my top set. Today we'll be at like an RPE 7. After we hit that RPE 7, we're going to take a little bit of weight off the bar. We'll do our working sets based off whatever that top set is going to be. So we're going to be doing a set of 8 for our top set today on that bench press, 7 RPE on that. So I'm just going to start warming up, start hitting some sets of like 8 to 10 for the warm-ups, try to feel it out, see where I'm going to be at. We'll hit that top set at a 7 RPE, and then I'll explain how we're going to do our drop sets today after that. All right, I'm gonna preemptively say this is probably gonna be my top set of 8, right around that 7 RPE range based on how the warm-up sets felt. Top set today was a set of 8 at a 7 RPE-ish. The working sets are based off of that. So what I did is I'm taking 20% off of that, and I'm gonna do sets of 10. And then I'm gonna end my bench press today with 1 set of an AMRAP to kind of accumulate some volume on the bench press specifically by doing that AMRAP set. So we'll do 2 sets of 10, 1 set of as many reps as possible at the end. What that's going to allow us to do is get a lot of volume in a minimal amount of sets, not have to spend a lot of time on the bench press. AMRAP sets are great for creating a very high stimulus at lower loads. So like 95 kilos isn't a heavy bench press, but you can make that an intense session by throwing that AMRAP at the end to try to get that fatigue, get to that point where you're building up a large stimulus, even though you've got a light load on the barbell. There's also a huge hormonal response that comes from doing AMRAPs and training towards that kind of absolute failure. I don't do multiple sets to failure. I only will do 1. If you do a true set to failure, you really only need 1 set to get the job done. If you're doing multiple sets to failure, all you're really doing is accumulating a high amount of fatigue that's not necessarily beneficial when it comes to building strength. So 1 set of that AMRAP to finish off should be enough to kind of gain the stimulus that we're looking for today. But we're going to start off with 2 sets of 10. Let me slide underneath here. Oh, nice and gracefully. All right, last set here, AMRAP set. We're just gonna pump it out See how many we get. All right, I probably had one or two more in me, but I didn't feel like absolute failure was a smart move. 15 reps, not bad. Last part of today's session is some yielding isometrics. Yielding isometrics, extremely good for tendon health. That yielding position should be somewhere kind of like mid-range in order to put the most tension onto the tendon. Tendons, in order for them to get any sort of adaptation, they require a lot of exposure. You do these for sets of 30 seconds at a time. 3 sets is usually the standard for something when you're talking about yielding isometrics. I'm gonna be building up in load over the course of the next 8 weeks. I'm gonna start today off a little bit more conservative than normal by just using an empty barbell. But what I'm trying to focus on is trying to get kind of like that mid-range position on a split stance. The focus for this position here specifically is going to be that knee. So kind of that mid-range, not all the way down to the bottom, not fully extended. That mid-range for the knee should put tension onto that patella. Isometrics, great way to like rehab if you have any sort of tendinopathy. They're also a great way to kind of build tendon quality, build the resilience in your tendons, just to kind of build that tissue quality up so that your tendons become more resilient and you don't end up experiencing things like tendinopathy, sore joints, anything like that. Since the focus of this training block is going to be based on kind of building up tissue quality like we did yesterday with the extensive plyometrics, another way to do that is by doing some yielding isometrics. The best place to put yielding isometrics in your training program is going to be at the end of a session. You don't want to use these at the beginning of a session, create too much fatigue prior to going into your main movements. So like for me today, I'm not going to do yielding isos prior to going into my back squats. I'm going to do 3 sets, 30 seconds on a split squat hold, and then I'm going to do another isometric following this. So for me, I like to go barbell between the legs, try to get that front knee somewhere right around 90 degrees, and then hold on to that bar for 30 seconds. I've got the clock going right now. Like I said, I'm not trying to go super heavy today because it is the first time I've done these in quite a while. So I want to just make sure I'm getting quality in. As you can see, my legs are already shaking because of the back squats I did earlier today. But front of the knee here, that front leg, that close to 90-degree position, this back leg is also getting some work, specifically on that Achilles. I got my foot into the ground. I'm trying to think about kind of pushing my feet away from each other as I'm in this position. And 30 seconds onto the other. So 3 sets of that total. And then I've got 1 more iso to do after that. Last thing we're gonna do today is a yielding iso specifically for the lower leg. So the split stance, a lot of pressure onto the quad, into the knee, a little bit of that back leg because you've got to maintain that position. Now we're gonna focus specifically on the lower leg here. So as you're doing a yielding iso for the calf, you want to try to maintain kind of a middle or neutral position with that ankle. So you don't want to be all the way stretched where you're kind of just sitting in that rock bottom position. It's the same thing as if I was just sitting at the bottom of a squat. I'm not really active in this position. I want to be a little bit above to be active. So rather than being all the way down in a rock bottom position, you want to kind of be in that neutral position. Feel that the calf is on, feel that you got tension through the Achilles, and then you're gonna hold that position there for 30 seconds. So the way I like to load this up is dumbbell on the same side as the leg that I'm working, ball of the foot on an elevated surface, heel should be floating. You can use some sort of a rack or a wall to get a little bit more balance. I like to start down at the bottom, raise into the position that I want to get into, and then I'm going to hold that position there for 30 seconds. And then once you've done 30 seconds on one side, same thing onto the other. Start at the bottom, bring yourself to that active position. Once you feel that tension in the calf and in the Achilles, hold that position there for 30 seconds. And then there you have it. So I'm gonna do 3 sets of that, 30 seconds on each side. And that's gonna be it for today's session. I appreciate you guys watching. Make sure to like and subscribe if you haven't already, and I'll see you guys again tomorrow.